What is meant by security? The word security stands for the freedom from threats. What do you understand by internally displaced people? People who have fled their homes but remain within national borders are called internally displaced people. For example, Kashmiri Pandits who fled due to internal violence in Kashmir Valley. What is meant by human security? Human security means to the protection of people from any type of threats more than the protection of states. Give an example of global threat. Answer is global warming. What is international terrorism? International terrorism is the situation which involves the citizens or territory of more than one country. Terrorist groups seek to change a political context or condition that they do not like by force or threat of force. Some international famous terrorist groups are Al Qaeda, Hizbul Mujahideen, Lashkar-e-Toiba, etc. What makes rich states get richer? Low population growth and high per capita income makes rich states get richer. Why do people migrate? People migrate to seek a better life, especially better economic opportunities and standardable life. In which year India first tested a nuclear device? In 1974. In which year global security has emerged? In 1990s. Give one example of arms control, nuclear non-proliferation treaty. What is the difference between traditional and non-traditional security? In traditional security, traditional notion is concerned with the use of military, war, balance of power and alliance building. In non-traditional security, it goes beyond military by threatening conditions necessary for human survival. In traditional security, it is concerned with the state and its governing institution. Secondly, in non-traditional security, it covers broad aspects of security, example, hunger, diseases, etc. Thirdly, in traditional security, it is confined to state only by thinking of internal and external threats. In non-traditional security, thirdly, it covers not only the state but also all individuals or humankind. In traditional security, fourthly, its main focus is on force only to achieve the target. In non-traditional security, fourthly, it comprises cooperation, hence it protects human or global security. Next question, is terrorism a traditional or non-traditional threat to security? Terrorism is a non-traditional threat to owns the peace and order in the country. Terrorism refers to political violence to target civilians deliberately and indiscriminately. Civilians are usually terrorists to be it as a weapon against national government and other parties in the conflict. Terrorism involves hijacking planes or planting bombs in trains, cafes, markets, and other crowded places. After a terrorist attack on World Trade Center on 11 September 2001, the other governments and public also are paying more attention to terrorism. Next question, write the difference between migrants and refugees. Migrants are those who voluntarily leave their home countries. In refugees are those who flee for war, natural disaster, or political persecution. Secondly, migrants are not accepted by the state, but states are supposed to accept refugees. Next question, give two examples of health epidemics. Firstly, HIV/AIDS, secondly, bird flu. Mention two new sources of threats. Number 1, terrorism. Number 2, global poverty. Explain any four components of India's security strategy. Firstly, to strengthen its military capabilities. The first component was strengthening military capabilities because India has been involved in conflicts with its neighbors as Pakistan in 1947 to 1948, 1965, 1971, 1999 and China in 1962. Since it is surrounded by nuclear-armed countries in the South Asian region. Secondly, to strengthen international norms and institutions. The second component of India's security strategy has been to strengthen international norms and institutions to protect its security interests. India's first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru supported Asian solidarity, disarmament, decolonization, and the UN as a forum to settle down international conflict. It used non-alignment to help carry out an area of peace outside the blocks. Thirdly, to meet security challenges within country. The third component of security strategy of India has been gearing up for challenges within the country. Several militant groups from areas such as Kashmir, Punjab, Nagaland, Manipur, and Mizoram have sought to break away from India. India has made efforts to preserve national unity by adopting a democratic political system by providing freedom of speech and expression along with the right to vote. Fourthly, to develop its economy. Economic growth is another component of security strategy of India. India develops the way to lift vast mass of citizens out of poverty, misery and huge economic inequalities. A democratically elected government is supposed to combine economic growth with human development without any demarcation between the rich and the poor. Next question. Identify and explain any four new sources of threats to security. Firstly, terrorism. Terrorism is a non-traditional threat. Terrorism is a war against democracy and a crime against humanity. It refers to political violence that targets civilians deliberately and discriminately to use it as a weapon against national government. It has become a global phenomenon because even superpower is not free from terrorist attacks. Next, human rights. Human rights are those basic conditions which an individual is supposed to enjoy as a human being. These rights include political rights, freedom of speech and expression, economic rights, social and civil rights, and rights of indigenous people. Denial of human rights to different sections of people and its violation is also a non-traditional threat. It is seen that there is huge violation of human rights during ethnic clashes and in some state-sponsored terrorism. But there is no agreement on which set of rights should be considered as universal human rights, nor what the international community should do when rights are being violated. Next, global poverty. In the present age, global poverty is a great source of insecurity. The disparity between the developed and developing nations are ever increasing. Growth of population is the prime factor for poverty in the third world countries. Global poverty refers to low economic growth, low national income, and low standard of living of developing or least developed countries. Next, health epidemics. Health epidemics is a very serious threat to a country's security because severe acute respiratory syndrome, HIV/AIDS, bird flu, etc. diseases spread across countries through migration, business, tourism, and military operations. What is arms control? Arms control means cooperative or multilateral approach to armament policy. It aims to reduce weapons of mass destruction. Two examples of arms control is START 1 and START 2. What is confidence building? Is it a means of avoiding violence? Confidence building is a process in which countries share ideas and information with their rivals in order to build mutual confidence. It is a means of avoiding violence. In the policy of confidence building, nations reveal each other about their military intentions and their military plans. Under this process, nations also inform each other about the kind of forces they possess and the place of its deployment. Confidence building, therefore, is a process designed to ensure that rivals do not go to war through misunderstanding or misperception.